What's up, guys? What's up, Astro T Podcast? It's your girl, Supernova Jazz, and we are back with another beautiful guest, the infamous Astro Dim, the astrology goddess, TikTok goddess, I would like to say, voice note goddess, and astrocartography specialist. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So, we've been meaning to do this episode for a while now, but
Yes.
divine timing, and especially with this Pisces full moon tomorrow, whenever you're watching this episode, because what we're talking about today is valid in whatever time space reality you are floating in. I just think it's great that we can complete a cycle together right before this Pisces full moon.
Yes, it's perfect timing. This is so Piscean, I feel, because Pisces is connected to foreign lands. So I feel like it just goes hand in hand.
And it's connected to your North Node.
Yes, exactly. This full moon is very, very close to my North Node.
Yes.
So yeah, I feel like this is just perfect.
So today, though, we are talking about astrocartography, relocation astrology, and most specifically, the Lunar Node Line. Astrodim, it has a course. If you want to talk about your course that you are showcasing to the community here.
Yes, so I have a Relocation Astrology 101 course where I teach you the basics of relocation astrology. So that's astrocartography maps, relocation charts, all the ins and outs, and my little takes and specialties that no other astrologer does, but I do, that makes the readings that much accurate. And yeah, it's, if you need any information on that, you can go to my website astrodim.space and I'll have everything that you need there.
Yes, and follow her on TikTok, because I honestly, rather, other than your podcast, she has a podcast as well. What is it called? Astrology in My Bed?
Oh, My Bed in Astrology.
My Bed in Astrology. I really do enjoy your TikTok. So
Thank you.
those are awesome. And then check out her course. But it's so crazy because specifically, I feel like I dive into the lunar nodes a lot. And I also like to use it in the terms of Vedic astrology, of Rahu Ketu. That's actually the course that I taught on Iman's retreat.
Yes.
And so it's so cool to combine both of our passions and specific loves within the vast universe of astrology.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like with us combining this together, you can, even though I know a lot about astrocartography, you could definitely include your expertise with the nodes as well. And I'd love to hear your perspective of things too.
Yes, awesome. So I feel like it's so beautiful in this past 2 years. The knowledge of astrology has just gone up and quite inevitable, especially with Saturn in Aquarius. And I learned from you that we are not in the age of Aquarius. We are just the pioneers of it, okay?
Yes.
And that stuck with me because it was just like, okay, well, how are we going to be an age when we got to get there,
Right.
uh,
Exactly.
yeah, but I feel like the next layer is astrocartography because it's so beautiful. Even through dating, people are like, this is my sun, moon, rising. They know their Venus, they know their full chart. And it's like, what's next? And it just feels like if you're not dabbling into maybe Vedic, you're dabbling into astrocartography because we're always shifting and moving, and the lunar nodes currently have been in the signs of movement and travel, with Sagittarius in the South Node, Gemini in the North Node, at least until the end of this December or January.
Yeah, I think it's the end of December. Actually, it's the last the last eclipse for those two.
Which is also exciting, is because Jupiter will be going to Pisces around that same time.
Right. So I feel like with that too, it's just still giving us the opportunity to expand in our travel as well. So, because Jupiter's all about traveling, Pisces, foreign land. So, maybe we've learned all we needed to learn to go into the places that we need to go.
Mm. Did you do that on purpose with astrocartography with the lunar nodes right now in travel?
That's the funny thing, is that I didn't. Which goes to show you how like automatic astrology is sometimes. You don't even realize. I'm not gonna front like I didn't do electional astrology in general when it came to like releasing the classes.
Mm.
But yeah, like I noticed it way later, like, oh yeah, Sag and Gemini, these are the traveling signs. It's like, that is interesting. Of course, this will happen the way that it did.
And I love it because it's when it comes to travel, we should get more strategic because you can't just up and travel nowadays. You got to know where you're going, what are the requirements to travel, especially with Sagittarius in the South Node. So I think it's so beautiful and so timely how astrocartography can help you understand the energy of where you're going to go and if it's worth it or if that's what you're ready for where you're at in your current reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree.
Beautiful. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the lunar node line.
Yes. So the lunar node line is connected to the North Node and the South Node. North Node is connected to our life purpose. South
Mm.
Node is connected to our karmic influence, things that we've learned already from the past life that we bring on into this life, and we utilize those gifts in this life. But we have to remember to not lean too much to the South Node, and lean towards the North Node a little bit more to get to our life purpose, right? And so, just like all the other planets, there are 4 lunar lines. There is the ascendant lunar node, descendant lunar node, um, the IC lunar node, and the MC or midheaven lunar node line. So those are the 4 lines there, and basically they represent when the North Node is conjunct the cardinal points, basically. And so with that, you have to remember too, is that with the lunar nodes, there's North Node and South Nodes. So for
Mm-hmm.
instance, if North Node is conjunct the ascendant, South Node is conjunct the descendant. So you always have to consider both of those lines. There's 2 lines always happening when it comes to the lunar node lines.
Mm.
But when you happen to move into a place in which is your lunar node line, you get to not only like connect to your life purpose, whether, depending on which line it is, but also you are getting a taste and an understanding of your karmic past, because the South Node is also included too. And so you get to see what's happening, all the gifts that you acquired, and kind of understand it from a different perspective, from your past life, and then figure out what you need to let go, figure out what you need to hold on to, so you can focus on your life purpose as well. So it is very, I'm not gonna front, it's heavy, it's a lot. But
I
it's
know.
yeah. You definitely know because you've experienced it.
And we'll get
But
into it, but go ahead.
yes, but it's a lot. It is, but it leads you to your life purpose. You get to understand your life purpose more. And so it is, I suggest honestly everyone to at least have an extended stay at a lunar node line. I really do, because you at least can kind of get that perspective of your life purpose. And even if you don't stay there, that's totally fine. You can go anywhere else, but you will always have that memory
Mm.
of being at that place and where it took you, what you've learned. And even like, I wouldn't even be surprised, honestly. And I've heard this from my clients, they had like automatic past life regressions during in their nodal lines, like automatically, because their south node is touching something that's important, a
Wow.
cardinal point. Yeah, so it's deep. It's a lot.
And where can, because that's what I was trying to do, but where can we find our relocation um astrology map? I try to go through astro.com.
Yes, that's my favorite because
Okay.
there's there's a couple of websites that have something similar, but it doesn't look as nice. So you will go to astro.com, and then after that you will go to where it says free horoscopes, and then there's a new section because astro.com recently changed.
I
So you,
saw that.
yeah, right. I was like, whoa,
I
okay, this is different.
was like, whoa.
But now you go over to where it says locational astrology, which is another name for relocation astrology. And then go over to
Got
where
it.
it says Astro Click Travel.
Love
And
it.
then you add your information. They have the map there. I suggest using the scalable map. And it will show you all the main lines. But if you click these little check boxes that says with harmonious lines, with disharmony, with harmonious aspects, with disharmonious aspects, they'll also show you minor lines.
Oh,
And minor lines are basically when a planet is aspecting the cardinal points, but not conjunct. So it would be a trine, a sextile, a square. So minor lines are also,
okay.
minor lines are also super duper important too.
Oh, nice. So it's my descendant lunar lunar node line that goes through DC.
Oh, yes. So, what I would say with this one is that I think you're definitely going to connect with a lot of people, relationship wise, that you've connected with in a past life. And
Mm,
if you didn't know them in a past life, they are reminding you of your past life. So maybe y'all had similar themes. Your souls never met each other, but you're meeting now, and they're reminding you a lot of like some past life stuff. But if it's your south node on your descendant, that means your north node's on your ascendant. And so you're embodying your life purpose or your north
okay.
node. Yeah.
Wow, I love it. Which makes a lot of sense because I met my best friend through visiting DC. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, she had my nephew, and I've met so many people through her. Lots of romantic encounters, but specifically enough, let's talk about how weird this line is. Okay, so and here we'll get into it. So I went to DC in February. I met a Scorpio, and his birthday was 11/11. Okay,
Ooh.
connected with him, everything was great. I come back home. um I had a falling out with my friend. We didn't talk for a while. Talked to him really vaguely. It was 4 months,
Mhm.
and I actually went to Mexico and ran into her on the plane. Our seats were supposed to sit right next to each other. So the origin definitely is DC, because remember, she's from there. Okay, didn't
Right.
really talk to her much then, went our separate ways. And then the guy, he reached out to me, and they ran into each other under a Cancer new moon. I'm a Cancer moon, Cancer sun.
Oh my goodness.
So he got us back together. We connected through that. And then I actually was like, hey, girl, I'm going to come visit you next month. So I visit her. And I was telling him, I'm going to be in town. I'm going to be in town. Would love to see you again. And he was out of town because there was a funeral and something he had to attend to, which is fine. I was already there for 4 or 5 days. Mind you, this is like my seventh trip to my Lunar Node Line. And I
Mhm.
run into him on a date.
Oh my God.
I run into him on a date, and I was like, oh, hello there, sir. Because just my node line doesn't play. Like, I feel like it's the energy of no matter what you think you're going to see, what you need to see, and it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. You can make a right turn, left turn, you're guided, and it has this very chariot energy, the chariot card. So
Oh, yes.
can you believe that? That was a
That is
lot.
insane. Oh my God. But that you were on the money when it's like it doesn't matter what you want to see, it's gonna be what you need to see. Because again, there goes the universe and DC forcing you to your purpose, forcing you to what you need to see at this moment, you know? And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, okay, this is a past life connection that you need right now. Maybe you needed a break, but you need it right now. So we're going to force this onto you, and you're going to see it, and you're going to have to like work through
and
this.
and that's what's you're saying, like no matter if you say, you don't say it's your lunar no line, it always impacts you once you've been there. Because what are the chances of us being on the plane together, me and my friend? Not only that, one of my first trips to DC, I got into the passion of astrology and tarot at this trip in DC. And then I'm also taking another certification because someone I ran into in DC told me I should do the certification. So it's just
Mhm.
been very on the money of getting you into the right direction. So highly recommend everyone visiting their lunar no line.
Yes. And then the point that you made is so good. It doesn't matter if you're there, if you touched on that place, you're gonna experience it. Just to give an example, there are people who advertise based off of their lines. So they're like, oh, my son, midheaven line is maybe saying it's over like Austin, Texas. I'm
Mm,
gonna try to advertise for my business around here because I'm gonna get a lot of attention. You know
wow.
what I mean? So like it doesn't really matter if you even been to that place sometimes. If like a line is going over a city, you might be impacted by that city for some reason if that
Mm,
line's super important. So yeah, it's really interesting how it works. It's almost honestly, it's not almost, it's purely spiritual. It doesn't, it's kind of weird how it works out that way. Yeah.
so interesting. That's so interesting because my Jupiter line goes through California. So, for instance, like you're saying, say I wanted to run an ad online, maybe I should put more money and see more people in LA because I have my Jupiterian line there.
Right, exactly. A lot of people do that. They usually use the midheaven one
Okay.
because it's kind of like you're the most seen. And so like
Okay.
everyone is seeing you there. So they'll like mess with the midheaven. But I think ascendant will be totally fine too, especially if you are advertising like yourself. Like if it's kind of like your brand and your name, like you're Supernova Jazz, I'm Astro Dim, like we are our brand, like it's not, it is a business of course, but it's not like we created a company that we're not, our face is not attached to. So ascendant might actually work really well for us too.
Nice. And I'm sure aspects to your lunar, because if we're specifically talking about the lunar no line, I'm sure aspects to it contribute to how intense it can be, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So in many different ways too, so kind of similar to what I was saying with the minor lines. So like if there is a line that is trying your there can be line that's, there can be like a North Node trine line as well,
Okay.
for certain places. So that happens, but also like transits as well. So astrocartography can work with transits and progressions too. So
Wow.
it's kind of taking your, like it's taking the lines and it's making it like transit lines too. But astro.com doesn't have it. You need to have more of an advanced program to do it, but you can kind of look at your progress chart and make lines based off of that as well. Because what astrocartography is basically is your chart just overlaid over a map. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, so you can literally use transits and progressions as and they can be aligned in an astrocartography chart too. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yo,
it's
what
amazing.
software is the expensive transit map relocation?
I know there's somebody who focuses a lot on astrocartography, an astrologer named, I believe, Ralph McIntyre, and he has a program. It's hard to find programs that are not like a lot of programs out there. The reason why I don't really use them is they're not really attractive. It looks very too technical. It's not attractive. You can't implement asteroids in there. So, it's a little bit difficult. This is why I also use
It's
relocation
not
chart.
user friendly.
Not user friendly at all.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not. And so oftentimes I would use a relocation chart or create a relocation chart because, again, with astrophotography, they're taking the moment of your birth and they're translating it based off of the place you want to go. So, you can just basically, like, for instance, if I wanted to look at my LA chart, I would just basically translate the time zone to the, like, when I was born in Boston to LA to get my LA chart. And that's what these
Oh.
lines are basically. Yeah, this is what the lines are. So it's taken that, not necessarily the time that you were born, but the moment that you were born, and translating it to where you want to go.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so say for instance, to get my LA chart, I would just take my birth time, and
Mhm.
because it's on the East Coast, I'm over here, and subtract by 3 hours.
Yes. And then of course, use the LA, and that's
And then
your
LA.
and that's your
Oh
LA chart.
wow. Okay. That's
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't open another can of worms for me. Okay. I got
Yeah, it's
some
so
homework.
yes, it's amazing. Like, and so basically, you have a whole new ascendant in these different places you go. So I used to want to go to LA. I'm kind of not interested anymore. I would love to visit, of course, but I used to want to go there so bad when I was in
It's okay.
college. And yeah, so I'm an Aquarius rising naturally because I was born in Boston and everything. But in LA, I would be a Sag rising with
Hmm.
Saturn right near my ascendant too. So like so when it comes to relocation astrology too, what happens is, like, you still have your birth chart. It's just kind of showing you the external things that are happening around you and how it affects you and how you appear to other people as well.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe we could talk about some aspects to the lunar node line. So, how would a lunar node square Mars line would sound like, look like, feel like?
Oh, that's a good question. So do you mean like if Mars is transiting your north node?
So let's say my lunar node is squared my Mars.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Just natally.
Natally, correct.
Gotcha. Okay, so that actually is a really good. I'm glad you brought this up. Generally, too, it's important for you to know what you're going to go up against if you go to your nodal line, to any line, honestly, because if you have some of these squares and oppositions, that energy is going to be displayed in where you move. You know what I mean? And so, for instance, if you move somewhere to your nodal line and you natally have Mars square north node, it will be like it's hard for you to try to take action and make moves when it comes to fulfilling your life purpose, or even understand your life purpose. And so you're trying and you're applying yourself and you're going for it, but it's just like a disconnect, or it feels like that the universe is almost stopping you from doing certain things. And it's like, why I have to keep applying myself and applying myself and applying myself to fulfill my life purpose, you know?
Mhm.
Or even they may feel that they have to apply themselves to even understand their past lives as well, or their karmic influence or the gifts that they brought in from their past lives too.
Mm.
And so, yeah, like the squares are a bit tough because, especially with Mars squares, they hurt my heart because I notice a lot of people keep trying and trying and trying. And it's almost, they feel like they're almost running in a hamster wheel. And it's like, why am I not making many moves? Like, it's so frustrating.
I
So,
could
yeah.
tell you how it comes up in my chart. I guess because my lunar node line runs through my seventh house. So
Uh-huh.
every guy I meet, one time I met a Scorpio, and he brings another girl to a bar, and I get in an argument with him. And then the
Oh,
other guy after, I don't, something happens where I see him out, and he's with another girl, and then another guy, and it just doesn't work out. So I could understand it's like that try, but there's this like
yes.
challenge or this conflict. And I truly believe after learning about astrology, that doesn't mean it's forever. It just
Right.
means the energy is very potent and the challenge is there, but it's not squares are not limiting you, it's just challenging you.
Right, exactly. So it challenges you in a way where it's like, okay, there's obvious tension here. How are you going
Mhm.
to figure this out? You know, because not all Martian or Aries people are combative and fighting and like
Mhm.
yelling and stuff like people like to make it out to be.
Yeah.
But they are very motivated. And how Mars and Aries type people think, they're like, okay, there's something I need to do here. They're going to take an action, but
Mm.
it depends on where they are in their life, which action they're going to take. Are they going to fight? Are they going to scream? Are they going to confront? Not necessarily in a mean way, but confront the issue, you know, in a mature way. There's just so many ways to go about it. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not forever, but it might be a common theme and it's teaching you, hey, how you gonna go about this, you know?
Yeah. I love that. What about yourself? Have you visited
Yeah.
your lunar node line, and where's that at for you?
Oh my goodness, no, I haven't. And actually, I want to, even though I have some squares to my notes. I'm like, oh, I know this is gonna be a lot. But mine is in I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly, but Bahia, Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm trying to actually, let me pull up my chart now because I want to see which exact line, but oh yeah, it's my North Node ascendant line. So similar to DC for you.
Yeah.
Um and I it's interesting too because I always had a pull
Mhm.
to Brazil too. Like ever since I was little, I thought the culture was really cool. It's very similar to Black American culture too. So I think that's where I had the connection. I was like, okay, like one of these days I'm gonna go. And then I found out, like, oh, no wonder I want to go, right? So I think that's interesting how, like, I even had a client who always wanted to go, for instance, to Japan. And it's because her nodal line is there, So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, a lot of people felt that like they're connected to a place and it happens to be their nodal lines there.
Mm.
But with me natally, because my let me think, because my north node is actually natally trine my midheaven. I'm currently living, if I'm being generous with the distance, currently living, with me being in my birthplace, Boston, in my north node trine midheaven line. And with the see, trines are funny because trines are usually like, I know a lot of people's like it's usually just means the energy works harmoniously, but honestly, trines can be quite benefic. Like they can just make things work so beautifully. And I see that mostly, but it could be kind of harsh sometimes too. So for me, how it works, it's kind of like I was pushed to do the type of work that I'm doing, the spiritual work. And I
Mm,
was trying so hard to do the business corporate stuff. And it was just like, nope, nope. And so the energy was almost like harmoniously flowing me to where I'm supposed to go, but in a way where it's like, we're gonna just keep pushing you until you get it. We're just gonna keep pushing you. That's what I felt like the universe was doing. And
mm,
so I like, this is kind of like a way where trines can be yes, harmonious and flowing, easily flowing, but it can kind of like push you somewhere that you didn't expect to go. And you're
mm.
like, oh, well, I do like it better here. This works. It's not as
Right.
it's not as like tension bases like squares though.
It's so funny. I think I saw Jade say that trines can also make somebody lazy because things just flow well. Like, oh,
Absolutely.
things flow well here, so I'm just going to sit here and reap into what's flowing. But what happens when you want to be challenged and all those different aspects?
Oh yeah, I can speak as someone that has a grandfire trine. Yep. I'm lucky to have a kite with that grandfire trine. So I have that opposition in my chart. But yeah, like sometimes I just expect things to happen because I'm good at it. It was way worse when I was younger. I'm like, well, why this is not working? I don't understand. It's silly, but I'm luckily like I have a kite with it, so I have an opposition in that grand fire trine, so it makes me um definitely work, and I have opposition to kind of push
Mm.
forward.
What would you say about oppositions to the lunar node line?
Yes, so similar to what I said about the north node and the south node, if it's going to if you are in your north node ascendant line, that means you're in your south node descendant line too. When it comes to reading um any astrocartography planetary line, you have to consider what's opposite as well.
Okay.
So even if I were to like say, oh, I want to move somewhere where I'm on my like Venus IC line because I want a beautiful house. Well, Venus is also opposite my midheaven if I'm in my Venus IC line, because
Mm,
Venus IC line is Venus conjunct IC.
mhm,
So you always have to consider what's opposite of it, what's square of it. You have to consider the whole chart instead of just considering, oh, this line is cool. I want to move there because I want what this planet is projecting.
mhm,
Um, so with oppositions, it's kind of like usually it's yes, I have this opportunity, but I can't ignore this part. So yes, I have the beautiful house, but what do I have to do to get a beautiful house? I need a good job. I need a good career. I need to make sure
mhm.
that I'm seen and appreciated and respected, because if I don't have a good reputation, what's the point of a beautiful home if I'm going to be sad in it? you know?
Yeah,
So you always have to consider the opposite energy for sure.
I love that. Or what about natal planets? So say if Venus opposing your lunar no line.
Okay. So, ooh, that's a good one. Um, let me think of an example. Um, I would say this. So if we do a north node ascendant line, that and then Venus is opposite of it. So that means that Venus is actually conjunct the south node, um,
Mhm,
the south node energy. So that would definitely tell me that you past life love, past life relationship, past life business contracts as well.
mhm,
Because Venus is not just love, it's money, is contracts. Same with the seventh house too. And so these basically it's kind of like these contracts and relationships that you have with people are pushing you to your life purpose and you embodying your life purpose and you understanding your life purpose. And so it's kind of similar to actually a little bit to the situation that you're going to be in with DC. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or that you were in DC, excuse me. It's like, you know, there's these relationships that you are going to have is pushing you to your life purpose and for you to embody that life purpose. It's
Mm.
kind of like that Venus energy. It's like these contracts and these money opportunities and these relationships and everything Venus is pushing you towards that. Also, too, I noticed with Venus, since it's Venus opposite North Node ascendant, that means Venus again is conjunct to the descendant, and that actually has you usually for the most part have you attract feminine energy too, because Venus is feminine energy, doesn't matter what gender, it's just general feminine
Mhm.
energy, and descendant is relationships, and
Mhm.
so you will actually connect with a lot of people and build a lot of relations with people who are feminine, and so that will probably be a part of the whole lesson for your life purpose too.
Beautiful. I love it. Do you have any other key points on this line?
um, so what I would say, again, I greatly suggest people to at least have an extended stay
Mm.
in one of their North Node lines. It doesn't matter if it's North Node Ascendant, North Node IC, North Node Descendant, North Node MC. Just experience that energy. So because it will lead you to your life purpose and it'll help you understand your life purpose more. I do want to say too, again, like I mentioned before, look at your north node natally. Does your north node have squares and again oppositions and trines and sextiles? Look at that because it will actually show you what you can expect in that place. So for instance, with me, I have like, squares to my north node. And so with me going to my north node line, I know it's going to be a lot of me trying, and it's going to be a little bit of tension, and I'm going to have to learn through my life purpose through tension in this place, and I have to do that already natally. But being in a place, being on that's your North Node line, it's going to be way more prevalent. So just
I'm
be
also
aware.
I'm also getting the download that it could be just you maybe using your body more as well in ways you
Yeah.
probably didn't know are used to. So, and I'm just getting that download because Mars is your body and movement, square. Especially if you're coming from a space where you say you have this flow and this sextile, and then you go somewhere where maybe movement could be constricted, and now you got to use other forms of vehicles like your 2 feet or bicycles. And so you're just like, wait, it reminds me of maybe I haven't used my body in this way. So I'm getting
Right.
that too. And that means, guys, if your lunar node line is squaring a Mars, don't let that scare you. It's just a
Yes.
challenge. And I don't know, maybe because I'm an Aries 12th house, subconsciously love to be competitive. So
Yeah. You're like, I'm gonna be in this line, damn it, I don't care. No, but I agree though. It's just I want people to definitely just be aware and don't like throw like the baby with the bathwater when it comes to this place. Whatever this place is, don't think, oh, I have such a hard time with this, and that. I hate this place. Like, no, it's teaching you a lesson. Like,
yeah.
sit back and reflect and you know what I mean? See what your chart is trying to teach you, you
Mhm.
know?
It's really
Yeah.
life changing, honestly, guys. And I would like to say just visit this space with a listener ear versus because if it's somewhere fun, oh my god, I can't speak, Mercury.
I know.
If it's somewhere fun, you might miss out on some of the whispers and the synchronicities and the guidance. So just visit with a very open ear. And yeah, I love it.
I love that advice. It's perfect.
Okay, so if you guys are listening, you made it this far, don't forget to check out Astro Dim's course. She does mini readings, not long readings.
Yes.
I'm also doing readings. Solo return readings have been really fun for me lately. And yeah, bye.
Bye. Thank you.